I just watched a 5-minute TED Talk that just scared the shit out of me. It's by Will Porter, and it's in the description of this video. So pause this video, but come back, and then you can see what I was talking about. It's only 5 minutes long. There's something happening here. Now, there's been a lot of talk lately about banning protesting. And one side of the media says we're banning protesting, and the other side's like, we're just banning some of protesting. I ran down this rabbit hole of trying to figure out what's really going on. The majority of these bills are about traffic, about protesters standing in traffic and blocking traffic. Minnesota, they want to reclassify obstructing traffic from a misdemeanor to a gross misdemeanor. In Indiana, their bill is called by any means necessary. They are able to remove an assembly of 10 or more people by any means necessary. Kind of scary. And then in North Dakota, there's a bill that would exempt motorists who hit demonstrators with their cars from liability. Not that they can go get in their car and run down protesters, but the idea is that if they hit a protester while they were trying to go, it wouldn't be liable because they were standing in the street. Then there's the whole other side of this is, what if somebody's bashing the shit out of your car and then you try and drive your car away and then some guy falls off the car? Are you held liable? There's just a lot of gray area, it seems like. Now, as I'm flying down this one rabbit hole, I read this other thing from Washington. They want to punish protesters as economic terrorists. What the fuck is an economic terrorist? And essentially an economic terrorist is a person or a group of people that create a loss of profits for a business. If it's a loss of profits, where is that line? There's so much gray area. They were talking about animal rights. Chickens are essentially fed so much that they can't move, are living in their own filth, and then they're cut up and killed. But it is illegal for someone to trespass onto their property and take pictures of that and bring this corruption to the surface. And it's eco-terrorism because Tyson would lose money if people knew that. This is also true for environmental stuff. There's a business who wants to chop a bunch of trees down to build a shopping mall. And some guy strapped himself to a tree. That's illegal because they're keeping the shopping mall from being built, keeping profits from people. Eco-terrorism. But on the same side, if that guy has all the rights in the world to build a shopping mall, then if he bought the land, that's what he wanted to do with the land, who's to say he can't do that? And we didn't even touch on racial or gender equality, but those same rules apply there. And then you got the question, does peaceful protesting really work? The Cherokee Indian resistance, Cherokees stood their ground and made no preparations to move. U.S. troops destroyed the homes and property of the resistant Cherokees, with approximately 4,000 dead from disease and starvation. Was that protest successful? Hell no! The path the Cherokees took from their homes is now called the Trail of Tears. You've probably learned about that in school. Gandhi's Salt March in 1930. He walked 2,040 miles over the course of 24 days to avoid paying the British tax on salt. Gandhi was jailed. Considered a watershed moment for India's struggle for independence, which was finally obtained 2 decades later. So, did it work? And then there was the White Rose Resistance. It was to undermine the Nazi rule of Germany, distributing leaflets that philosophically challenged the ideas of Nazis, which is essentially what that TED Talk was you just watched. He was handing out pamphlets. The result was that the 6 main members of the group were arrested and beheaded. Was the protest successful? Unless you consider losing your head success. So no, not successful at all. And then in the mid-50s, there was the Montgomery Bus boycott. Montgomery's black population refused to use public transportation. Was this protest a success? Yes, it was. It also served as one of those turning points in the civil rights movement. How about the tree sitters of 1978? The methods of protest were they built tree houses in the trees. The government agreed to permanently stop logging operations and the area became a park. Winning! Are these too much for you? Too political? Here's one about boobies. Do you like boobies? The lactivists at Applebee's. To stop discrimination against public breastfeeding at Applebee's restaurants. Breastfeeding mothers would nurse their infants in plain view of Applebee's. So was it successful? Yes it was. Getting a little too fired up. If this shirt offends you, you're the problem. I understand we live in a world of gray, and I understand eco-terrorism. Just the term is so broad. How do you... It's scary. It scares me. It's too broad where you can argue that no matter what you do, you're losing a company money and then you are considered an eco-terrorist. And it makes you want to be silent because you're scared of speaking out potentially being labeled and convicted as a terrorist, which is also scary. But to end this thing, it seems like you have the government and you have the people. And it's always government fighting the people and the people fighting the government, and then what do you do? And it seems like we forget what the original idea was that you'd have the people and the government and they would work together. Did you know that there's a certain Minnesota activist organization that contacted the police force and said, hey, we're going to be protesting here. We just want to make sure our protesters are safe. And did you know that those police said, hey, how about you protest on this street? We'll block it off for you. And then you can have a safe protest, and then you can be safe and our police can be safe. And to me, this is the way it should be done. That's what a peaceful protest is. A lot of these on the sheet were peaceful protests. Smashing cars, hitting people with your car, pulling guns. Those are violent protests. Whether you're being violent against stuff or you're being violent against others. Violent protests. Peaceful protests don't have any of that. Peaceful protests put ideas out. But if an idea challenges how a business makes money, that's fucked up to me. If that becomes criminalized, it's essentially, I feel like, gonna have the same reaction as the civil rights movement did. Yeah, black people couldn't drink out of white people's water fountains or go to white people's bathrooms, and people realized that was fucked up. And this is the same kind of idea, it feels like to me. It's just fucked up. Maybe this video is just a way for me to organize my thoughts a little bit, and I did a really crappy job because it just brought up more questions. And I am down this rabbit hole pretty deep in that right now. I'll end with this. Protests and challenging convention don't always make a positive impact. As you can see from the examples above, half of them did and half of them didn't. It's 50-50. But scaring people into never saying, whoa, 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 wait a minute. Why are you doing this? Why are we doing things this way? Will create no change ever. No positive change ever. What do you guys think? Do you think I lost my mind? Tell me what you think. Give me some stuff to think about and regurgitate in the comments below, because I'll have a week of non-videos, because just a reminder, this week is week 3 of my 3-week video making on, and then I take 1 week off so I can recharge and come up with some more ideas so I don't get burnt out. So a week from Monday there will be another video. If you like videos like this, let me know. If it sucked, let me know. I'm game either way. I just like feedback. That's all I ask for. With that being said, life is meant to be experienced, and curiosity will get you there. See you a week from Monday.